Hi, everybody. Before we get into this brand new episode, I just wanted to update you guys with the brand new upload schedule. Tomorrow, I will be uploading one more episode, and starting Monday through Friday, there will be daily YouTube videos. I'll be having somewhat of a TV show covering the daily news from Monday through Friday, and every Saturday will be a new podcast episode. I want to not only make a podcast to express my thoughts and ideas, but also to show my creativity with each daily upload. One more thing, thank you all so much for the support. And now I give you episode 4 of the Difficult Conversation podcast. Hi, welcome to a place where the conversations are tough and the guests are tougher. My name is Jackson Sapanian, and welcome to the Difficult Conversation podcast. I'm here with my friend Noah. Noah, say hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself? How's your day going? Before we get in, how are you doing?
It's going pretty well. Been up since 6 a.m.
Why?
Working out before the sun's up.
Big guy. And then it started raining. Weather's been a little bipolar, a little weird.
Yeah, I like how you introduced it as the conversation is tough, but the guests are tougher.
You like that? That was pretty good, right?
That's a good compliment.
So every guest I'm going to have on, this is only my second time recording with someone else, but every single time I'm going to ask, the first question is always going to be the same. Your political beliefs in your party. What party do you represent? Do you represent a party, left, right, in the middle? Where's your head at?
So before I say my party, I'd rather just go with political beliefs.
Yep, go ahead.
So firstly, I believe that all people should be treated equal, regardless of race, gender, their sexuality. My political beliefs also concerned for the environment. I think being environmentally conscious is extremely important. Those are two main things, and it's just all about loving everyone for who they are. And if I were to pick a party, I would be more to the left than the right as a Democrat, but not, far, far left.
Yeah. I state this all the time. I don't think it's ever, well, this is me personally. I mean, anyone can believe in whatever they want. And that's what's so great about America. You have the right to believe in whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think far left and far right, I think that's why I could never support Bernie Sanders, because his whole motto and his whole what's it called? Not administration. His whole campaign was based not on unifying the country, but unifying the left. And that's why I could never vote for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I think that he was a little extreme, A
little extreme. Yeah. Well, that was great. So you're environment conscious, which not a lot of people are. A lot of people think
especially not politicians.
No, a lot of people think people exaggerate the problems that we're facing in the world that we live in today. And I hate the whole argument of how global warming. I mean, global warming has always happened, and it happens all the time, every single year. The Earth gets warmer and warmer. But I think that us as humans are not speeding up that process is just ignorant and ridiculous. It's kind of like not looking at the scale every day to realize that you're overweight. Oh, if I don't look at the scale, I'm not fat. You got to realize the problem at hand and do your best to stop it.
Yeah, I think the argument that a lot of people who are anti-climate change make is that it's all natural. And while there's some aspect of climate change that is natural, that would always happen, us as humans are obviously contributing greatly to climate change.
People are gonna look at, or when they listen to this episode, gonna think that I'm really stupid, because I think all my friends know, including Noah, I have a stutter problem. So I'll mess up on words when I just did. I'll mix up what I'm trying to say with something else, and just know that I speak faster than my brain processes. So I have to learn and teach myself to slow it down. But let's get into.
That's why you do podcasts. So
that's why I do podcasts.
Learn to do better.
Learn to do better. I like that.
It's my motto.
Let's get into the next conversation topic. So we're 16, and we will be voting next election. Think about that. That's a big
2 elections from now. Not this November.
Next November. Next election.
Yes.
So let's say, hypothetically, you were 18 and you had the right to vote this year. Who would you vote for and why? And why not the other person?
Yeah. Well, assuming that it's basically going to be Joe Biden against the Donald.
The Donnie!
You know, I think that in the past 2 weeks or 2 months even, it's become increasingly clear to most of America, as if it wasn't before, that Donald Trump hasn't been able to control or be able to successfully unify the country, especially with the coronavirus and all the racial tensions going on. And so I believe that, is Joe Biden perfect? Of course not. I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about his past and some of the things he's done, and I'm not going to try to justify those things.
You can't.
No, but what I will say is that he brings a more clear-headed and clear-sighted viewpoint, and I think that his whole demeanor and is a lot better for bringing America together. Obviously, he's going to have a lot of people dislike him. The diehard Trump supporters, obviously. There's nothing that he can do to make them support him. But I think that some of the things, it seems like every day Trump has a new thing on Twitter, something that he said that's dividing the country. And I think Joe Biden would give us more control. I feel like that's a decent way to put it. And I think that more level-headed approach is what we need at this time.
I personally I follow the Donald on Twitter, and I'm gonna read you a few of his most recent tweets.
You had this ready.
Oh man, I had this ready. It's the things that it's so ridiculous to me. I remember when he first ran for office. We were in 6th grade when he first said he was running, and I remember everyone, or at least I personally thought, there's no way anyone's going to vote for this guy. Like, this is the dude I watch every Thursday night on Celebrity Apprentice. Like, there's no way this dude's going to run the country. 4 years later, he's running the country. Well, I'm going to get into one tweet that I talked about my intro episode that is a big deal. How do you retweet and quote a tweet? When you quote a tweet, it's like you retweet it and you add another caption to it. That the term is quote a tweet. How do you retweet a video of your supporters, people that support you, people that are proud to be MAGA ats, whatever the hell they call themselves, MAGA people, driving around in a golf cart in the villages of Florida with MAGA flags and Confederate flags and American flags on the back of their golf cart. White power, white power. How do you retweet that? Quote the tweet saying, "Look at all these great people," and then your excuse is, "Oh, I didn't see it. I just saw all the enthusiasm." Do you know what the enthusiasm was? People screaming white power.
It's not like it was a discrete part of the video. It was the video.
It was the first 10 seconds. It's the first thing you hear. The first thing you hear.
And it's not as if this is the first time a slip up like this is happening. It's almost like
it's not even
on the weekly.
It's not.
It's not a slip.
It's who he is. I don't think we've ever had such a. I mean, we definitely have, but I don't think we've ever had such an openly bigoted person in the Oval Office ever. At least in our generation. Like if you look are the first presidents everyone was racist, because that's just like what it was.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the whole retweet's getting media attention, but it really not as much as I think. Imagine if Joe Biden retweeted that. I just want him to be held to the same standard.
Well, the reason he's not is because one's running for office and one is the leader of the free world.
Well, even when Donald Trump was running the first time, he wasn't held to that standard.
That's very true.
In my opinion.
No, he wasn't. I mean, he was held to a higher standard. I mean,
Well,
his whole basis of his campaign when he ran 2016 was Mexicans are racist. Let's build a wall.
yeah, that was yeah. Whatever happened to that? You don't hear that
I
people talking
mean,
about that anymore.
the wall is being built,
Well,
but the big argument, not argument, like facilitator was, hey, but we're not gonna pay for it. Mexico's gonna pay for it, and guess who's paying for it? My mom and your dad's taxes are paying for this wall. So
yeah, but
yeah. So you said you would vote for Joe Biden if you could vote for this November, and did you state why you wouldn't vote for Donald Trump?
well, I think we've already listed some of the reasons. It's
But then an argument can be made, but you're not voting for him as a person. You're voting for how he benefits our country.
I think that's somewhat true, but I think you're voting for the person you want someone who
Represents America
you
as
like,
yeah.
you generally like, and obviously you can't always like them if you dislike both candidates, but you know like my first point was on climate change. Donald Trump has repeatedly denied that climate change exists, and
And it
he's
does, it's people. It exists.
yeah. I remember that was like 2 years ago. That was a big thing when he was trying to deny that it existed and undermine the whole climate change movement, because that was really big in 2018 or something like that. So that's one big policy that it's just crazy that someone would deny that, and so that's huge for a president.
Well, that's more of, I don't want to stereotype any political party because I just don't think that's right, but it's mostly a right thing to say that climate change isn't real and how it's just not a hoax but an over exaggeration of the left to try and push this agenda to add more funds to so and so and so and so.
Yeah, I wouldn't even group that group of people as from the right. I just group them as stupid. The honest
Yeah.
opinion. That should be a new political party. Stupid party.
You have left, right, and you have stupid. All right, so the next topic we have at hand. So we talked about your political beliefs, your party, where do you stand. We talked about who you would vote for this upcoming election, and now this should be a very quick conversation, or I hope it's a quick conversation. Your thoughts on the Confederate flag and the argument that's made from the South or Southerners is, it doesn't represent slavery and racism. It represents our Southern heritage. But do you want to know what their Southern heritage is? Racism and slavery.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say before you said that. Like if my grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically, if I had German heritage, and my grandparents or great grandparents were Nazis, and they did all this terrible stuff, but it would still be a part of my heritage. Would I want to have a swastika on a flag flying in the front of my house? That would be ridiculous. Imagine doing that, and they should be held to the same standard as that. I think it should be regarded as a swastika is regarded as a symbol of hate. And I think while it does symbolize our history, there's good history and then there's bad history. And that flag symbolizes all the hate and all the pain and death that it caused and what it stood for. I think
100%. What was I gonna say? What's it called? You talk so slow and so smooth. I forgot what my point was gonna be.
No, that's
I remember. I remember what I was gonna say. There's three major arguments for the Confederate flag, made by racists and Southerners, because those are the two people that love it. I'm not saying Southerners are racist. I'm saying Southerners and racist. I don't want to, again,
or it could be just an uneducated person. If a person makes that argument,
If they're
you have to
uneducated,
educate
they're
them.
usually racist. So there's
That's a good point.
article right now. There's around 6 arguments for the Confederate flags, and I'm going to get into I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to say there's usually 6 arguments. I'm going to talk about 3. There's heritage. There's actually I am going to read it. Heritage, patriotism, and then the fact that if you get rid of it, you're getting rid of history, and if you don't learn about history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I'll get into the last argument in a second. The first argument I said was, what was the first argument I said? I forgot what I said.
Heritage.
Heritage. We already stated how that's just idiotic. Just idiotic. If I have some German in me as well, if I went around waving a swastika saying "Hi Hitler," I don't think people would be very happy with that. So, booyah. And now then the second argument for patriotism. I'm sorry, but there's nothing patriotic about trying to leave the Union because Lincoln took away your slaves and the most American soldiers died in the Civil War. So if being a part of the Confederacy is patriotic, then I'm just not American.
The American flag is patriotic. That's the only flag that should be considered as patriotic.
The Confederate flag is the complete opposite of the American flag. It was meant to take down the American flag because they didn't like the new policies being in place by President Lincoln. So I need to have someone on the show who actually believes in the Confederate flag, and I won't, because we both agreed that
that should be a fun conversation.
Oh man, I have some people I have to get on this show. Like I have to. But
it stands for the exact opposite values, and I think people who support it don't even understand that.
There's a difference in having different political beliefs and being a bad person. There's you can have every right to like Donald Trump. Like that doesn't make you a bad person. But if you believe and wave the Confederate flag, I think you're uneducated, and for that reason, I don't think you're that good of a person. That'd be like me going around saying the N-word, not knowing what the N-word meant. Oh, but I don't know what it means. Okay, but you're still doing it and you're still saying it.
It has
without excuse.
Stood for negative things in history, and you can't just change that, even if you think you can. That's just not. It's not okay.
Oh, and then one last argument. This is maybe by a lot of people on the right. If you take away the Confederate flag, you're taking away the history of the Confederate flag, then people will forget about it and then continue to repeat it. Just how people are afraid that people are taking down Confederate statues because, you're taking away our history, and if you don't learn history, you are doomed to repeat it. What are your thoughts on that argument?
I think that's deeply flawed because, in the third grade, when you were really little, all your history books had chapters on this, chapters on the Civil War, what the Confederates stood for. They're always viewed as the bad guys in that situation, and rightfully so. And so that's history right there. You're learning about the history of these things right there. There's a statue. You're really not learning from that. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, you're not even acknowledging that statue. You're just walking by it. And you may not even know who that is. But having a statue of someone who stood for immoral things, deeply immoral things, slavery, that's about as immoral as you can get. Yeah. That's not someone that should be put on a pedestal, literally. So,
I could never imagine being an African American now, living in the South, and I'm walking in downtown Georgia or downtown Atlanta, and I just see statues of slave owners, and like you said, putting them on a pedestal. Like, look at these amazing soldiers, and people we should be honoring that served in the Confederate and in the Civil War, and look at these amazing people. And then as an African American, you're like, well, no.
Yeah, that's just imagine how they feel. Like we can never understand. We never will understand how they feel about that. But just try to imagine how they must feel seeing that. It's incredible.
Can't. I think neither of us can. And now we have two more topics. I think let's get into the topic that neither of us are really that educated on, I'm going to pull up an article and a few tweets about it, and then we'll dive right in. So during the riots in the riots in all across the country and the heavy protests. So there's also, before I get into this, there's a difference between a protest and mindless rioting and looting. And I hate how they put all the protesters under this category of criminals, thugs, doo-doo, these bad apples coming in and trying to profit off of
That's
horse.
what gets the most press.
And that would be the same thing if I were to say, oh, a few African Americans are robbed a bank. Oh, all African Americans must rob a bank. And I remember watching Fox during like the one in DC, and they never even said the word protest or talked about the movement. All they were talking about is, look at these mindless, senseless thugs. Look at these thugs. And they were talking about on the day while they were showing a peaceful protest in downtown LA. Look at these thugs taking everything. If I were to do that, then oh my God.
Yeah, it was funny. I was watching the news, and this reporter was just talking about how terrible it all was. They were burning down stuff, but you look
I mean, oh
around
yeah,
them.
don't get me wrong. Like, I do not support looting
No.
at all or rioting. Rioting. All right. When I say all right, I understand where they come from, where they're coming from the rioting. I could never understand looting and taking like local businesses and just taking their stuff. I could never do that. Rioting and like burning shit, I understand where they're coming from and their pain, but I don't support it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not saying it's right, but you have to think about the anger that they must be going through. I'm not saying that was the greatest thing they could have done.
Yeah, no.
And not a lot of them are doing it. Not most of them aren't.
Just how a lot of cops don't mindlessly kill people. It'd be the same argument if you're going to show these few bad apples doing these horrible things, that I can show you these few bad apples, but you would throw a fucking fit if I showed all these quote unquote heroes and police officers mindlessly killing people, but those are just a few bad apples, but let's shine the light on these bad apples and then try and stereotype a whole group of a movement, a whole group of people as these bad people. It's a two-way street. Life's a two-way street.
There's a difference between a human life and property damage.
All right. Now we're going to get into the argument. Not an argument, but something neither of us are. To what we were talking about before I got into what I was going to talk about. We talked about the rooting, so on and so forth. So during that, when it happened in DC, allegedly DC went out, blackout, complete blackout. Power shut off, no service, no internet, nothing. And what was being released today is people on Twitter, their Twitter accounts are being hacked and tweeting the same. Everyone was tweeting like the same thing, like what ... DC wasn't shut down ... What a hoax. And like millions of people's Twitter accounts were hacked to tweet that one thing, so people wouldn't think DC was like went out. And now it's being released how there's like videos showing like during this blackout that no national media source showed us. It was like the purge. Like there was no accountability for any actions. People were taking, like, if you can look it up on your phone right now, like taking fire hydrants and like undoing them, and water was going everywhere. People were spray painting everything. People were trying to hop the White House fence to go in the White House. Like it was mindless and pure chaos. So I'm gonna try and pull up an article right now and read it. Hold on, give me a second. DC blackout. I hope I'm not boring my audience, but this is kind of like big stuff. Yeah, this was like about a month ago.
A month ago. Wow.
Just getting news now.
June 1st.
June 1st. And see, look, the Washington Post is trying to say like this didn't happen and this is all like just fake. But now what's getting released on Twitter today are like videos of when it actually happened, and it was mindless and pure chaos, and it was ridiculous. And I don't know why they tried to hide that from us as we the people.
Oh yeah, it said that Twitter suspended some people's accounts for posting about the blackout because they said it was misinformation. And what you're saying is that it wasn't misinformation? Is that what you're saying?
It really happened. And I think the reason they're trying to hide this from us is that imagine the capital of our country going out. I don't think the White House, I don't think the media would want us to know that, hey, our capital kind of like went out.
Oh, what this article says is that the blackout could have been to disrupt the protests, but
what does a blackout have to do with people in the streets? Like what?
No, it could be to quiet them, essentially.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
me
and Noah are just reading things that we're looking at.
I didn't even know this was.
I think it's a topic for a different day. I don't want to get into too much of something I know absolutely nothing about.
That can be the next episode of.
That could be a different episode for a different time. Now, the last thing I have written down is COVID-19, but I just had an episode with our good friend Aiden where we talked about COVID-19. So I think I'm gonna say that for someone else because I think it's gonna be two things I'm always gonna talk about. The person's political beliefs in COVID-19 because COVID-19 is a global pandemic that all of us are being affected by every single day. So I think each person differs, but I already know how you're dealing with COVID-19. Same thing with me. So I think what I want to talk about before we end the podcast is the situation with masks and why people, I don't know if you heard, but people are like trying to make it like a political issue. Like, oh, I'm not no sheep to the left wing mob. I'm not going to wear a mask. Like, have you heard or read anything about that? How people are like refusing to wear a mask.
You see videos every day of people in supermarkets throwing fits.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with political beliefs.
I think it's just, as you said, you can put them in the category of just pure stupidity.
Stupid party.
I remember Mike Pence once said something along the lines of, don't quote me on this because I could be very wrong. What I read could be extremely fake, but it sounds like something he'd say. It was like, I'm paraphrasing. Oh, I don't need a mask. Like the power of Jesus will protect me. Something among that. And like, I was like, let me look this up before everyone starts going on my neck. Hold on. Mike Pence mask. I don't know what it is with the right. They just don't like masks. What is it with you people in the masks? Oh, now Mike Pence is saying, he says Mike Pence changes his course. Mike Pence says wearing a mask is a good idea. This is the same guy who says we're going to continue handshaking during the middle of a pandemic. And also, I'm going to go to a hospital and not wear a mask. That's the same dude who's saying we should wear a mask now.
It's
fucking idiot.
Why doesn't China have this problem? Why can they?
Well, to be fair, we don't really know what's going on in China. They don't really tell us anything.
Well, but you see that for years, whenever you'd see people from Asian countries, whenever I'd go to New York, you'd always see them in masks, and you're like, huh, it's a little bit weird. Why are they doing that?
Well, but now I can tell you why. It's a big thing in Asian culture for purity and cleanse. That's why whenever you go to like Japan, if you even have like a little bit of a cough, it's like polite to wear a mask. And that's what masks stem off of in this country now. You don't wear a mask to protect yourself. You wear a mask to protect that elderly woman down the hall in the grocery store. I guess the whole reason why you wear a mask. And I don't think people understand that. And the people that do understand that and still choose not to wear a mask are selfish pieces of human garbage. And that's my take on it. It's
the reason why so many European countries have been able to recover much better than us.
They beat it. Now they're dealing with like this small number of cases.
We're in last place. We're literally in last place. In the entire world. The entire world, we're in last place.
It's actually bad. Yes,
in the entire world. You can't think of China.
Brazil's coming up, but they haven't had it for as long as we had it.
I heard this story where the Brazilian president was literally walking through the streets of Brazil saying coronavirus is a hoax and high-fiving people. I can say that that's absolutely true.
Really?
So That is the one place where I would not move to, where it's actually is worse than here. I don't know if that's possible, but it's worse.
Well, I don't think it's gonna get as worse as it is here since we are such a massive country.
Well, I think that Rhode Island's doing a good job.
Yeah, we had like 16 new cases today.
16?
16 and 4,000 tests.
That's really, really good.
The only states that are seeing insane decline is Rhode Island, Connecticut. Oh my god! I try to say Kentucky and Connecticut. Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Delaware.
Yeah, and Texas and California.
All the southern states, all the red states who were blaming Democrats for making it a big deal than it actually is. Florida now saw like 32,000 cases. So
that's nuts.
You try to make it a partisan issue, and now your whole party is on fire because you decided to reopen 2 weeks after you thought you beat the pandemic. Now look what's happening. And also, I talked about this with Aiden. I don't think the protests have helped anything. Wait, no, that sounds wrong. When it comes to the pandemic and rise of cases, I think blame can partially be pointed to the protests.
I saw an article that said that the protests weren't contributing to the spike in cases. I saw an article that said that.
When did you read that article?
1 week ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I'm sure, like 1 week ago, we weren't having 40,000 new cases.
Yeah, I'm sure it did not help. I'm sure it did not help. But on the other hand,
I think it was a combination of protests and the South reopening too early. Not just reopening, but with absolute no restrictions, masks, or social distancing.
No regulations whatsoever. At all. I saw that in Texas, they said that the mask was optional, that you should wear a mask.
The Texas governor is an absolute joke. He's a joke. I don't care what anyone says. That dude's a right-wing nutto. His exact words when he went on Fox and Friends like a few months back, he said something along the lines of, us old people should sacrifice ourselves so the young can enjoy the America that we used to live in.
I did hear that.
I'll try and pull up that video right now.
That's nuts.
You're guys, you're about to hear my Google Assistant go off. Hold on. Wait.
It makes you some kind of hero.
Texas governor states everyone should die for COVID. Something like that. Yep. Texas governor claims seniors are willing to die for coronavirus for the economy.
It really.
Jeez.
It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. Who's he speaking for? What seniors is he speaking for?
Listen, everything's bigger in Texas, and I guess the stupidity is one of that. Jesus. What are your thoughts on masks? I want to hear your thoughts before we wrap everything up. What are your thoughts on masks?
If you're in public, you should wear it. You shouldn't have a choice. For the near future, we saw that it worked.
Yeah,
we saw that it worked.
There's literal scientific proof that it makes the biggest difference.
All we need to do was keep up the strict guidelines for 2 more months. You're gonna live 100-year-long life. 2 months is a very small portion. We just finish up those 2 months. We're in a much better place. You can't go fully back to normal. But at least then you're putting yourself in a much safer and better place. Whereas reopening everything, we saw that it was really, really negative. California just closed again. Yeah. It's like California's back where it was 2 months ago. So it's like nothing happened.
I think people are in a rush to get back to normal. And also, I think that's more of like our generation and like millennial. It's like a thing where we're like the least patient generation because we're so used to rapid results with technology and all that. And even the thought of not having a normal for maybe a year or year and a half just everyone was like, no, that's crazy. And then they tried to force something that wasn't ready to happen.
And then they're just messing it up for longer.
It's 2 times worse. And
It's
also,
like,
and then now there's like this argument that I'm gonna keep saying people on the right because it is. I see it all the time. And just because there's a high number of cases, but deaths are down. Our president made that argument. Deaths are down. The cases are up, but deaths are down. You want to know what comes with 40,000 new cases? Say it. Say it, Noah. What comes with 40,000 new cases?
more deaths.
More deaths. But I was about to say bada bing, bada.
No, and
I have to stop saying bada bing, bada.
You haven't said it yet. You haven't said it yet.
I haven't said it yet.
No, but obviously the deaths are going to be down because the senior citizens are staying inside. The older people are staying inside. It's not them who are getting it. It's the 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds who are
and
going
also
out.
when we saw this when it first came to America in March, we saw thousands and thousands of cases a day, but we didn't see deaths until like 3 weeks later because it's like a 3-week period. You have COVID for around 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, that's when the deaths start rolling in. There's a major lag. If you look at every single statistic, there's a major lag from when you get it to when supposedly you die. And then also there's an argument that you left liberals are scared over a virus with a 99.9% survival rate. If the argument for you to go out is, I'll go out, it won't kill me. What? Or it might not kill me.
Yeah, it's okay if I get hit by a car.
I'm gonna jump off a bridge. It might not kill me. It could kill me, but it might not kill me. And even so, let's say it doesn't kill you. There's new studies every single day showing, like, you know how, like, if you get polio, later in your life, you like go limp, like your legs go limp, like you become paralyzed if you get polio, and then later in your life you go paralyzed. They're showing already that there are major like, how do I word this? After you get
side
COVID,
effects.
Not even side effects. Like after you get COVID, there's a period where you're okay, and then like they're showing how like people's lungs are like deteriorating, trying to fight this virus, and like their lungs are like breaking down, and like they look like smoker lungs. So
especially the smokers who are getting it.
Oh my god, to people my age, recklessly going to the beach, hanging out with your friends with no conscience and not even thinking whatsoever, thinking that you're bigger than this. Just know, God forbid you get it. And I don't wish that you get it. I don't wish that your parents get it. But God forbid you get it. You probably will live with severe consequences for the rest of your life. And that's not me saying that. That's what science is saying. And who knows? The science may change. We didn't think we had to wear masks until like 2 months ago. Then we have to wear masks now. And that's the thing people are saying, or they're like showing it like Dr. Fauci, who's like the leader of medical disease in our country, or whatever he does. People are like, he didn't know what he was talking about. Homie, no one knew what we were talking about. We have never seen anything like this. Nothing that spreads this rapidly and this is contagious. That's the reason why this is
in the modern era.
And even with modern medicine, we really don't know what we're talking about. We really don't know how this works. We're learning every single day.
I haven't heard too much about really, really long-term issues like post-COVID, how it'll affect your health. I haven't heard much about that. But I'm sure that it can't be positive, and if you have an already weak immune system, even if you recover with it, I'm sure that your immune system can't be better even after you completely recover.
I can pull on. I have the article right here, right now, right handy. You ready? Give me a second. It's in my folder. I was about to say bada bing, bada boom. I was about to say it, but I'm not gonna say it.
There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place to say that. I feel like you're just doing it to fill space, and that's not when you should do it. You should do it like when you tell a joke. When you tell a funny joke. You go bada bing, bada boom.
New study shows that even patients who are reportedly asymptomatic, no fever, no cough, fatigue, or breathing issues, can still sustain long-term lung damage from the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that should be a surprise.
So everyone thinking that this won't affect you because, you're young. I'm in my 20s. I'm a teenager. I'll be okay. Man, you're stupid. You're idiotic, and man, I actually hope you get it. Hope you get it. I hope you don't give it to your parents. I mean, I know they raise a stupid kid, so
You will. You will.
Yeah,
You will give it to your parents.
98%, like, it's very contagious. That's
Unless you don't talk to your parents. Unless you're like,
most of them don't. Oh my god, I hate my mom. I'm just gonna go live in my room.
unless you live in your room, your parents are gonna get it.
Well, no,
It's not.
it was great having you on. This was a very chill, laid back pod. This was
It
awesome.
was a pleasure.
It was nice. It was relaxing. We talked. It was great. Today, it is Monday, June 29th, and I have to record with 2 more people today. So I'm trying to fit in as much episodes as possible so I can slowly start putting them online. I hope each episode gets better and better as I get better at hosting. I don't think I'm doing that bad of a job. I'm trying.
No, you did. You didn't say like once.
I didn't.
Very,
Let's go. Let's go.
very scholarly of you. It hurts my head when I hear people do that. It hurts my head.
One thing I think I need to work on is having my information ready to go, because a big part of this podcast is truthfulness and facts and learning, and I don't think anyone will learn if you're given false information. So I need to be more. I'm like very spontaneous. I need to like really plan out each episode so it can go as smoothly as possible. Noah, thanks for coming on the show. Do you have anything else to say?
No, we totally got to do this again. Got a lot more stuff to talk about.
We do, and that's another thing. I'm trying to like only talk about certain things with certain people, because there's only so many things that are going on in the world we live in as of right now. I mean, there's like a lot of like little stuff that's happening like every day. Like today, the Supreme Court just passed a new bill about abortion, and I wanted to talk about that, but I didn't read enough into it where I could actually even form a conversation about it. So I need to really start doing my research so I can make these podcasts, these episodes as what's the word? I can't think of a word.
Informational as possible.
Not even informative.
Informative.
Thank you. So Noah, it was a pleasure having you on. Everyone that listened to this, I don't know how long this was. I think this was like 50 minutes as well. Thank you guys so much for listening. The love I got on my first episode was actually amazing. I don't care how many views I got. The text messages I were getting, like, yo, this is awesome. This is really good. Like, I love this. Like, those things make my day. So everyone that's listened to at least this far, I love you. Thank you so much. Noah, thanks for coming on the show. I'll see you all in the next episode.
Yeah.
Ciao.